All right, guys. So here's attempt 2 to do a live video on weddings. So hopefully this one works better than the first one. I'm not sure if it crashed or what. People were commenting crashed as if they couldn't see me or something. So I'm trying again, and we will see if this one works better. All right, so we got Abraham, hello. We have Aliyah, hello. How are you guys doing? Muhammad said crashed again. What do you mean by it crashed, Muhammad? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? I'm confused. Brian says, is a sign. Abraham says, hello again. So can you hear me? Okay, Awaz says, are there specific customs and traditions for marriage or engaged in America? And yes, there are. So for example, an engaged couple, only the female will have a ring, typically, and then the male will not, because males only wear the ring once they're actually married. Yes, we can see you. Okay, Malak says, yes, we can see you. Abraham says the last broadcast stopped suddenly. That is so weird. That's never happened. Usually it crashes on my end and I can't. The whole app crashes. But hopefully this one goes better. Okay, Aldair says, I see you and hear you clearly. Okay, yes, we can. You guys got it. Okay. Muhammad said he meant the previous video crashed. Okay, good to know. Thank you guys for letting me know, because that's never happened before. So I'm like, what? I was here talking and getting comments. I had no idea. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we're talking about the planning process. But before we really get in, be sure to share this video, guys. Make sure your friends and family can know about weddings in the U.S. and other cultures. So what we talked about previously was the proposal. So typically the groom-to-be will ask permission of the bride's father for her hand in marriage. That is the first step to getting married. Then the groom-to-be finds kind of a cool place to do the proposal. He gets down on one knee, presents the bride-to-be with a ring, and then she accepts, and the bride wears the ring on her finger. So on her left finger, on her ring finger, on this one. Left hand, this finger. So that's what we went over before. Okay, so let me check the comments and make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Why, Rahat says, why American wedding is different. And I'm not sure. Different from what? Or different from other cultures? I mean, other cultures have arranged marriages. Sometimes in other cultures, the bride and groom have never even met before. So that's what makes American weddings different, in my opinion. David says, I'm very glad to see you, teacher. I'm glad to see you guys. It's fun to do. I'm glad I'm back. It's fun to do these videos. Okay. So now we're all caught up. We talked about the proposal. Now we're talking about the planning portion of a wedding. So the biggest thing is that you get your venue down, so where you're going to have the ceremony and where you're going to have the reception. The photographer, so who's going to take all the pictures and capture the day. The DJ, who plays the music for people to dance to at the reception. Do you guys know what I mean by reception? I should probably break that down for you. So typically, a wedding starts with a ceremony. So that can be done in a variety of ways, but that's when, you do the vows and you exchange rings. So you vow to love each other forever till death do you part. You exchange rings. And then after that ceremony, everyone gathers afterwards for kind of a big party. It's just a celebration after the ceremony. So that's what I mean by reception. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that or not. So I'm going to check the comments here. Thomas says, to tie the knot. I think you mean not note. But Yes, to tie the knot. That is how you say to get when someone gets married. So Thomas, it's knot and not note. So K-N-O-T is the right way to say that. Okay. Mohammed says, is it right to say ask a woman's hand? Yes, it is. So you would ask a woman's hand in marriage. That's like a very formal way to say it, but yes, that is correct. Okay. All right, so tie the knot. Abraham says yes. So Abraham, that is right. Ibrahim, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but yes, it's knot. You guys got it. Tie the knot. And yes, Thomas, you got it that time. Okay, so back to planning. So you pick your venue, where you're going to have the ceremony, where you're going to have the reception. And then you get your DJ, photographer, florist, and cake. So those are kind of the big ones that you have to plan for, okay? All right. So in the comments, would anyone like to be a guest caller and discuss weddings? Let me know in the comments. So I know that you're serious about talking about weddings, because I want the callers to know what the topic is so we can have a real conversation. Okay? So put in the comments whether you would like to chat with me about weddings. Aldair says, I was wondering about food. Tell us, please. So the food can really range, because weddings can range. You can go from like a very formal wedding. So if it's a formal wedding like mine is going to be, it's going to be a sit-down dinner where servers bring out your plate. You've picked your food before the actual date. So you can have like chicken. It's typically like a meat of a chicken, a beef, and like a vegetarian option. And you just pick what you want for a formal wedding. But if it's informal, sometimes it's just a buffet and you can pick the kind of food. Sometimes they have food trucks that are like, you know, like a Mexican food truck. It can vary on the food. Okay, so hopefully Aldair, that answers your question about the food. Hai says, what kind of food do you often serve to people taking part in your wedding? Yeah. So for me, I'll just tell you our menu. So for me, we have a filet mignon, which is a piece of beef, and it comes with like broccoli and mashed potatoes, I think. And then we have a chicken that has like tomatoes on it, and there's a vegetable, I can't remember the exact, but there's a chicken dish. And then there's a halibut, so there's a fish dish. So those are the 3 dishes that I offered. Ibrahim says, did anyone pass you a piece of advice about marriage? And yes, people have, and it comes down to communication from what I've heard. Just communicating is really important. Habib says, do you dance on DJ's music? Yes, you dance to the DJ's music. Yes. Mohammed asked, what is the informal phrase to ask a woman's hand? So that's just, I asked her to marry me, or will you marry me, not to ask for her hand. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. So let's try to take a caller here. Doesn't seem like anyone in the comments has really said they want to talk about weddings. Okay, Thomas says, what side are we supposed to stand on during the ceremony? So it depends on who is we. So typically the groom stands at the altar. Well, if it's a church wedding like mine. So the groom is standing under the wedding arch or the altar. The groom stands at the very front of wherever the ceremony is. And then the bride proceeds in with their bridesmaids and their parents and things like that. So I don't know if that's what you meant, like the groom. Okay, I put my requests on to take a live caller, guys. So if anyone would like to. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see if you... Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hello. Oh, I'm so glad to have a chance to talk with you. Oh my
Yes.
God. I'm so happy. Okay, so I have some questions for you because I'm wondering if, like, for me as a Vietnamese person,
Hmm.
in the wedding we serve a lot of food. Like, we have some specific food that is compulsory, which is compulsory that is a like a must in wedding,
Oh,
kind of food.
yeah,
And
like
it's
for
like
weddings.
the sticky rice. Do you know the sticky rice? And we
Yes.
call it bánh chưng, and the spring roll. Do you know
Ah.
that spring roll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So that is one of the most like cultural in Vietnamese wedding. And I wondering if, like, is there any specific food that which is like compulsory in your wedding in
Yeah.
the USA wedding?
Really not that I know of. Yeah, it's pretty much just up to the bride and what they want to serve. There's
Ah,
nothing really specific. There's a cake at the end, so that's something
the cake.
that kind of has to happen.
Ah,
It's
ah.
part of the ceremony, like sealing the deal, kind of.
Yeah. So the second that I want to ask you about, like a little bit about academic one, is that like how, like I often forget to kind of change the verb tense, like from the. I want to talk about something happened in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
then I want to change the verb, and like I always forgot changing the verb from the present tense into the past tense. Do you have any advice for me to, kind of improve my speaking skill? Because I think I feel so dumb when I want to talk about something
I
happen, but
understand.
I always use the present tense verb,
Hmm.
so it's kind of irritating.
Yeah, I'm the same way with Spanish. It's really hard for me to remember the proper conjugations of each verb and what tense I want to use. But it really comes down to just listening to a lot of English. Because when you listen to it, it will come to your brain without thinking about it. So that's really,
Ah,
I know it's a tough thing because it takes a lot of time. But
ah,
once you hear the phrases like used a lot, then you'll know to use it. And it won't be like,
ah,
oh, wait, I'm trying to say past tense. You won't have to think about it. Does that make
yeah, yeah.
sense?
So yeah. I understand what you meant because like I have to practice because practice makes perfect. So the last question, like I know there are a lot of people waiting for kind of having the
Yeah,
chance to
sure. You're
talk to
doing
you.
great.
So the last question I want to ask you, like I heard a lot of people told me that what kind of accent do I have? I don't know what kind of accent do I have. Like I want to ask you, like, can you tell me like what kind of English accent do I have? And because I don't know what, like, kind of the accent that I have, because
Hmm.
I just know that I look it up the words in the dictionary, and then I will pronounce the word like it's just like the native speaker will pronounce it. Like, I don't know
Right.
what I have, like the British accent or the American accent or the Australian accent. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, closer to an American accent, but really it comes down to kind of where you're from. So, like, for us and how we would interpret it. So, like,
Uh,
if
uh,
somebody from Mexico who speaks Spanish, like, they would have more of what we would consider like a Spanish accent. So you would have more of
ah,
like a Vietnamese kind of accent to a native though.
ah, ah.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah. No, I thank you so much because
Yeah.
I'm scared of that. My pronunciation is not clear enough for you to
Oh,
understand what I'm talking.
I can
So,
understand it 100%.
okay, yeah.
You're
Thank
doing
you
a
so
great job.
much. Thank
Yeah,
you, thank
of
you.
course.
You're a great teacher, and
Yes.
I'm honored to have a chance to talk to you.
Well, it was great
Okay, thank
talking
you.
with you. Thank
Bye
you so
bye.
much.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Well, that was delightful. So, I didn't mention this, but if you guys have questions about past tense, I do have a hollow video on regular and irregular past tense verbs. So I should have told him to check that out. That would have been good for me to say. But if you guys are struggling with past tense verbs, be sure to check that video out. Okay. So I just want to catch up on the comments here, see what's going on. Okay, Thomas asks, what exactly does the couple do during the cake cutting? So typically they both put their hands on the knife and they push it through. They cut the cake together, typically. And then, you know, sometimes people get silly with it and they feed each other, usually. Sometimes people, you know, smash it in your face as a joke. But we don't plan to do that. We plan to just kind of feed each other the cake. So that's what you do. You cut it together and then you each feed each other a bite of the cake. Okay. All right. So Al Hassan is asking to be invited on. So let's try. Hopefully familiar with the topic. Oh, and also in our wedding. Oh, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Are you familiar with today's topic?
Yeah, a second. I will take my t-shirt.
Oh no, I can't hear you. It wasn't working. Couldn't hear him. Bad connection. Sorry. Okay. So let's see. And our wedding, I meant to say, with the cake cutting, my future mother-in-law got us a cake cutting set. So we're gonna have our own knives that we keep. So we're always gonna have the knife that we cut the cake together from our wedding. So that's special. Sometimes people keep the knife. That's another tradition.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her, or Alexa, I mean. She thinks I'm talking to her, but I'm not. Okay. Okay, Mohammed says, tell us more details about what happens in the ceremony. So the ceremony can be different depending on religious beliefs or, you know, how the bride really wants to do it. So typically what happens is, you know, in the beginning, the groom is always standing in front of the room by himself usually, and then all the guests are in the pews already seated. They cue some music, and then the bridal party starts to come in. So it's usually, I should know the order, but I'm pretty sure it's like the groom's parents walk down, then the bride's mom walks down, then followed by groomsmen, bride, and bridesmaids walking in couples, and then finally the bride walks down with her father. So that's what they do together. So the bride walks down with her father, and it's usually just the two of them down the entire aisle. From there, that's where it can be different. Some people have an entire, you know, mass that they could go through. That's what we're doing. Other people, they just go right up to the altar. They have a minister that takes them through the ceremony, and they exchange their vows and exchange rings. So that's where you put the rings on each, and then that's the end, and then you all and go to the reception. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to take another caller. So let's see. Ahmad. Let's see if they're on my list. Okay. All right, guys, are you able to see my requests? Some people in the comments are asking to join, but they haven't requested to be in my video. So be sure to request to be in my video. All right. So Ibrahim's asking, what is the best moment on your wedding day? And for me, it's probably going to be once it's all done and it's just going to be me and my husband, because that's going to be the best part for me. Oh, Ahmad says there's no request button. There should be. Oh, so many technical difficulties. Ahmad, I did want to add you, but I didn't see you on my requests. You're not on the list. And I only have 3 viewers, apparently. So I'm not sure if that's a Facebook issue or what. All right. So let's add somebody here. Oops. Patrol. Okay, so we're adding a live caller. All right, so we're adding somebody right now. So Muhammad says, do you throw a bunch of flowers in the ceremony? So there's a couple instances where you could throw flowers. So the first one is you usually have a flower girl that walks down the aisle. Oh, my guest request denied. Okay, so let's try another caller. We'll see if maybe somebody requests. Somebody wants to talk to me, right? So throwing flowers. Sometimes you have a flower girl that goes down the aisle and puts flower petals down the aisle. Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. Yes. Oh, there it is.
Huh?
I'm good.
Yeah, can you introduce
Yeah.
yourself and tell us where you're from?
From Mexico.
From Mexico. Very nice.
Yeah.
So how are weddings
Yeah.
in
So
Mexico? Can you tell us some details?
sure. Well, it's like an American wedding, so they have some similarities. So we got a bride, groom stuff, and so it's a good moment. So you
Mm-hmm.
go to church and have the reception.
Yep.
Yeah.
So pretty similar, huh?
Yeah, it's similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to copy Americans, but you know, you have a little towns and a little music. So music is different.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet the food is different too, right?
Sorry?
Is the food different too? Like is
Oh,
there any...
sure. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have Mexican food and spicy food. Yeah.
sure.
hmm
Have you been to any? How many Mexican weddings have you been to?
I guess I might say like 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, probably my cousin's wedding. Yeah, so he got married in a little town,
Mm.
so it was a little different. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So the music is different as well. So they play like this kind of countryside music from Mexico. So yeah, it's
Interesting.
cool.
That'd be kind of
Yeah.
fun to see.
Yeah, it's fun. They always dance this music, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of like songs and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about American weddings?
Uh, no, I don't. I guess they usually do the weddings on the yard of the house or something.
Yeah, so you can have a backyard wedding. That's
Yeah.
totally a thing. But
Uh,
a lot of the times it's actually at like a business. Like mine is at a church and then a performing arts
yeah.
center. So it
Uh,
depends. If I had somebody with a huge yard, I would love to have a backyard wedding. But yeah, that is the thing
yeah.
where if you have like
Mhm.
some family member or
Mhm.
somebody you know who has a nice yard,
Mhm.
then you can totally have a
Yeah.
backyard wedding. It's more of a
Yeah.
chill
I've
vibe.
seen that in movies a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
Runaway Bride. I think hers was a backyard wedding. A
Yeah.
famous movie.
Yeah. Yeah, movies. I guess it was in my 30s or something. Yeah, that kind of
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Do you have
That's cool.
any other questions for me?
Uh, Not really. Well, I know about the Hello app stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is that it's not working on my phone.
Oh no.
So I just see the messages. So every time you do like a live stream video, I can't see the video. So it's kind of pausing or something.
Huh. Okay,
So
that's good
yeah,
feedback.
I just can see the live streams on Facebook, not on the app.
Sure. Okay. I will pass that along. Does it give you any sort of message or what? Like when you try to play the
Oh,
video?
just like in the button that says follow. So for example, when it says follow, I click on that, but
Mhm.
then it's just loading and it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
So I'm trying to see the videos, the live stream videos, but it doesn't say anything. So I'm just gonna figure out how
Ah.
the whole app works.
Yeah,
So
so June is
yeah,
commenting. He's the creator of the app. He says you need to update the app. So if you
yeah, I guess it's updated, but
Oh,
I don't know. Probably it's my phone. So
okay.
I don't know what's the reason. Yeah,
All right.
but I mean I can see you on Facebook. So
Yeah. We'll keep trying the app.
mhm.
Hopefully it'll work. It's
Uh-huh.
it's a
Yeah,
good kind
hopefully.
of platform
Mhm.
with people who are serious about
Yeah.
speaking English. So It's been fun to kind of have a different platform. So you should check it out for sure.
Yeah, it's
And June
mhm.
says if you update the app, you will be able to watch the live videos. So maybe try that and see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, I would try to do it. I
Okay.
hope there's an option and I
Yeah.
would try to update it. Yeah.
Cool. And be sure to follow me. Follow my page.
Yeah, I follow you, but the same problem. So
Perfect. Okay.
I'll try to figure it out. I don't know.
June asks, can you send him a message on Hollow? You can find him. It's JOON,
Oh,
and he can
yeah,
help
I
you
just
kind
have
of.
sent a message. I guess it was Haley who sent the
Oh, Haley,
message.
yeah,
I would try to send the message to you, so
yes.
I would try.
So send it to June. He'll definitely be able to sift through his messages a little bit better.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
June Hallow, right?
Yep, June Hollow.
Okay,
All
got it.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's great talking with you.
Yeah, nice talking to you
I'm
too.
sure I'll see you in future videos.
Hopefully.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm very impressed with his speaking skills. He sounded very fluent. Okay. Awaz is asking, can we see your ring? Yes, so my ring is here. This is my ring. Okay. So let's see where we left off. Okay, so before the wedding, you have the bridal shower. So that is to celebrate the bride. It's called a bridal shower because the guests shower the bride in gifts. So you usually register for these gifts. You go to a store and you pick what gifts you want and people buy them off the registry. And then you all gather, you do games like get to know you games. At my bridal shower, they did a game, a Jeopardy game about, there were questions about me, about my fiance, and then about the two of us together. And people would guess and answer questions and there were teams and it was actually really fun. So Tom says bridal shower, and yes, it's a bridal shower. Yep. And it's called that because you're showering the bride with gifts. Okay. So next we have the bachelor party and the bachelorette. So for the groom to be, it's a bachelor party. So usually they go out with all their guy friends and they go out and party and they just celebrate being like their last couple days being a single person. Same thing with the bachelorette, it's just the female version of that. So the bride to be goes out with her female friends and you celebrate being a single woman just for the last couple days or weeks or whatever it is. So it's kind of like your last hurrah as a single person. Awaz says, it's a wonderful ring. Thank you. Yes, I love my ring. He did a good job, didn't he? He did, definitely. Okay, then the last part of planning is you have to get your dress. And actually, this is in the United States, you have to do this very early because it takes months and months for them to receive the dress for whatever reason. So typically in American weddings, the bride wears a white dress and then the man wears a tuxedo, typically. So that is the typical attire in a US wedding. Okay. So, doesn't look like there's any new questions, which is good. All right, so let's talk about the wedding itself. So the day before the wedding, you have a rehearsal dinner. So first you have your rehearsal, which is where you go through the ceremony with your bridesmaids, groomsmen. You all meet and you practice with the minister and you go through the whole ceremony so everyone knows where to go and what to do. After that, you meet, both the families meet, you have dinner, and you just kind of hang out. That's the rehearsal dinner. And it's usually the night before the wedding. So the wedding day, typically it's bad luck. It's known as bad luck for the groom to see the bride before the wedding. So the wedding day, the groom is doing his own thing, getting ready on his own, and the bride is getting ready on her own. And they do not see each other until the actual ceremony. Otherwise, it is bad luck. So that is kind of a little customary thing in the US. All right, then you have the ceremony, which is, the actual, you proceed in, you exchange vows, exchange rings, and then you're married. And then you have the reception after that. So after the ceremony, everyone leaves and they gather at the reception venue. So that is when you have dinner, you cut the cake that we talked about. And the most unique part is that there's a first dance. So you usually pick a song that's meaningful to the two of you, and everybody watches as the husband and wife have their first dance as husband and wife. Then there's also the father-daughter dance. So the bride dances with her father, and then there's a mother-son dance. So where the groom dances with his mother. So that is something unique to United States weddings, is during the reception, each the bride and the groom dance with their parents, or the bride with the father, the groom with the mother. And then there is a bouquet toss, and that's usually towards the end of the reception. So what happens here is the bride takes her bouquet, and all the single girls gather into kind of a group. And then the bride throws her bouquet behind her, and then all of the single girls try to catch the bouquet. And whoever catches the bouquet is known to be the person who's going to get married next. So that is kind of the thing. Like if you catch the bouquet, you're gonna be the next one married. So it's just kind of a superstitious kind of thing, but it's fun. All right, so I'm checking the comments here. Do you guys have any questions on anything that we went over? All right. Okay, I want to speak. So tell us your point about wedding. Is it good or not? Because many people who got married always say to be single as long as you can. I mean, it really comes down to what you want, you know? Don't let other people tell you what you want. If you want to get married, then great. If you don't, that's fine too. All right. Hello from Cambodia. Hello. Samir says, just came here today. What's today's topic? It's weddings in the US. All right, guys. So let's see if there's any more callers. So would anyone else like to join me live and talk about weddings? Let me know in the comments, because I want to make sure that the guest callers know what we're talking about so we can actually talk about it. So let me know. All right, and Anoy says, I'm watching from Thailand. Okay, guys. So let's try to take Saeed, and we will see. We will see if he adds me, if he requests my request, accepts my request.
Hello?
Hello? How are you?
Hello?
Hi. So introduce yourself. And where you're from? Oh, well, that didn't work too well, did it? All right, guys. Okay. So, any questions about weddings? Oh, I didn't go over what happens after the wedding. Let's talk about that. So, after the wedding, after the reception, typically the new husband and wife go on a honeymoon. So what that is it's a vacation pretty much with just the two of them. So we are going to St. Lucia in the Caribbean. I'm pretty excited about it. Typically in the US, I mean, this isn't across the board, but typically people go to more tropical places like Hawaii or, you know, the Caribbean like we are. That's typical, but not necessarily like a standard thing by any means. So that's the part I'm most excited about because it's just the two of us. All of the planning and everything else is just done. We can relax and just enjoy being married. Okay, so the topic is wedding, guys. We're talking about American weddings. So, so Santosh says, I'm married. Wedding is good for life. Yes. Good. Muhammad said, what does the reception mean? So the reception means to gather. It's a gathering after the ceremony, and it's the big party part. Like it's mostly that's the part that all the guests are looking forward to. So you usually have a bunch of toasts in the beginning. So your best man makes a toast, your bridesmaid or maid of honors make a toast, and then you all eat, then you cut the cake, and then you dance. So it's pretty fun. So yes, the reception is immediately after the ceremony, and it's the time to just gather, eat, and dance and celebrate, pretty much. Okay. All right, guys, I think we're gonna wrap this up right about here. Anyone want to see Rocco? He's pretty much dead to the world right now. Rocco, come here. Come here. Come here, Rocco. He's so tired. He got run today. Come here. Here he is, guys. He's so sleepy. Are you sleepy? Yeah. He got a lot of exercise today. Do you guys have any questions outside of weddings? Let me know. We'll do a little bit of Q&A if anyone has any interest. All right, Rocco, you can go sleep. He's tired. Okay. Omer says, hi, I'm from Afghanistan. Do you know Afghan wedding? I don't. I don't know anything about Afghan weddings. Enlighten me. Tell me what I should know. Mohammed asks, what is the ceremony? So the ceremony is different for, everyone and depending on what they want to do. We are doing a church, so it's going to be, a mass. It's going to be about an hour long, which is pretty long. Usually some ceremonies can be maybe like a total of 30 minutes or even less than that. They just kind of proceed in, they say their vows, exchange their rings, and that's it. But ours is going to be an entire mass, so it's going to be long. Okay, let's see. I'm looking. Mohammed says, what about your wedding plan, Tessa Hollow? Yes, so I am getting married in a week from today. It's going to be, as I said, a church ceremony. And then our reception's at a performing arts studio. So we have a DJ, so we're going to be dancing to music. We got a cake to cut. So ours is going to be very traditional, actually. A very traditional wedding. Mohammed says, is there anything before the wedding? Yeah, so let's review that. So we went over it. So before the wedding is really the time to plan. So that's when you're really getting everything together. But before the wedding, there's the bridal shower. So that's where you give the bride all these gifts. You gather at someone's house. They make little games for you just to celebrate the bride and her upcoming marriage. And then there's the bachelor and bachelorette parties, which are just a chance for the guys to go out and have one last hurrah as single men, and then the girls go out and have their last hurrah as single women. So those are the things that happen before the wedding. Mohammed says, when can we use it for humans? So typically it's not the most flattering thing to call someone an it. If you're unsure of gender, that's when you use it, but again, it's not a very polite way of using. You would say him or her, unless you don't know the gender, then you would say it. So Mohammed says, do you remember that one day you asked about our typical Indian wedding scenario? And I do remember. Yes, I've learned a lot about Indian weddings. Nguyen says, did they go to the church before the party? And yes, You typically have the ceremony before the party. So yes, in our wedding, it will be a church first before the ceremony. Monty says, "Congratulations, thank you." How do we start the ceremony, the wedding ceremony? It typically starts with some music that the bridal party kind of proceeds down the aisle to. That's how it starts. So MA says, what's the process that weddings are arranged? And I'm not sure if you mean like an arranged or wedding arranged. So I kind of went through the process. So you have to kind of find your venue first. You have to pick your DJ, your photographer, your florist, and your cake. So those are the big things to arrange for the wedding. Mohammed says, I want to visit the United States and see the wedding ceremony. I really want to find a way to somehow have you guys watch part of my wedding. I don't know if I'll like do a video recording and just upload it, because I think that'd be fun for you guys to be able to see. But I do plan on at least doing some kind of coverage of my wedding so you guys can see it. Okay. Let's see what else everyone's saying. Mohammed says, I lived in the USA for 7 years and never saw a wedding. Where do they do their weddings? And it varies. I mean, it's really trendy to do, outdoor weddings in some kind of venue that's outdoors, but there's all sorts of wedding venues out there that people use. Vi says, how long is the wedding party in the United States? I mean, mine's technically going to go from 1:30 in the afternoon to 11 p.m. at night. So it typically takes about, more than half a day. But I know other countries, they have days and days of the wedding, which I think is awesome. So it's fairly short compared to some other cultures. All right. So I think I'm all caught up in the questions. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to call it here. Thank you for all your questions. I hope you guys learned about American weddings, and I enjoyed learning about your guys' weddings. So I will see you in the next one. Again, my content may be kind of sparse right now, just because I'm in the throes of getting everything done. But I do plan to be more on a regular schedule after the wedding and honeymoon. So come October, things should be more regular. So I apologize for my content being fairly irregular, but it will get better. I promise. It's just my time has been consumed by planning my wedding. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me. Bye.